Hi everyone, welcome to your uplifting yoga flow. My name's Caryn, and we're going to spend some time on the mat today focusing on heart opening, upper body strengthening. So I'd love to start at a wall, and if you have really good balance and prefer to work away from the wall, that's fine, but if you can clear some space by a wall, that might be optimal. We'll use a couple blocks. I only had one at home, so I'm substituting a trilogy here. And this stack of books is about the same height as my block, so they'll work together nicely. We'll come to a wall then and set the props about half a foot or further away from the wall the long way. Stand up, face the wall, and get your feet on your props. You can use the hands to wall for support. Now we'll drop just the left heel off the back of the prop, targeting a stretch in the Achilles and in the calf. You can try this with a super straight leg, and you can also try this with more of a micro bend in that left knee. We'll just stay for another handful of breaths on this first side. And start to feel for deeper breaths, moving down into the base of the lungs. And when you're ready for the second side, switch. And step your right heel, just the right heel, off the back of your prop. Remember, you can always lean into the wall for more stability. Unhunch the shoulders. And breathe normally. There will be a difference in how the calf muscles are targeted when you straighten your leg versus micro bend the knee. So you might try that both ways at least one time. Stay for a couple more breaths here in your calf stretch. When you're ready to exit, look down, and you can keep the props where they are for now. Just step your feet back away from the wall. My feet are about as wide as my hips. My palms press into the wall, shoulder distance apart, and I start to lower the torso and crown so they're more or less parallel to the floor. If they're a little higher, that's great too. Ideally, the head will be level with the upper arms. Keep a little bend in both of your knees. Grip with your finger pads. Start to turn on your hands, wrists, forearms, and upper arms. Give yourself a couple more breaths here. And we'll meet in a standing forward bend. Just walk forward enough to calmly descend. Sway your head yes. And now shake your head no. Grab your props. Roll up bone by bone. Try to keep the head low until the very end. And we'll move back to the mat space, placing any props near the front of that mat space. Next, turn around, facing the back of your mat. Bend your knees and stand your feet. Slowly recline onto the back for bridge. Graze your heels with the middle fingers, center your chin. On the inhale, bridge pose, lift your seat, low back, mid and upper. Little more weight in the shoulders and triceps now. Try to keep the natural curve in the back of the neck. Energize your shin bones forward and firm down through the big toe mounds to engage the inner leg. A couple more breaths here. A little more upper arm engagement. When you're ready to exit, do so a little more slowly than you'd like. Figure 4. Flex your right foot and cross your ankle over your left thigh. Encourage the right knee forward for a neck stretch. Drop your chin toward your left shoulder. Couple breaths. Bring your head neutral. Hug your right knee to your chest and exhale. Inhale, set your right foot on the mat. Keep the knee bent. Exhale, switch sides. Figure 4, flex your left foot. Invite the left knee forward, the crown of the head back. When you're ready for the next stretch, turn your chin toward the right shoulder. Couple breaths. Bring your head back to a neutral position. Uncross, hug your left knee toward your chest. Exhale. And then roll to your right side. Inhale, fetal position. Exhale all the way on to your belly. Lengthen your legs and point your toes. Plant your finger pads down just under the shoulders and exhale, legs together or as close together as your low back allows. Inhale, baby cobra. Don't lift it up quite as high as you can. See if you can hold off here. Accentuate length from the toes to the crown. Engage the musculature right between the shoulder blades, and you'll feel the elbows hug toward one another for 3. Lengthen and lift heart forward. 2. Child's pose. Widen your knees. Lower your hips and head. And give both arms a decent stretch. Inhale through the nose. 1 open mouth exhalation. Seal your lips. Breathe in. Through the nose, breathe out. Continue in this manner for a brief rest. Keeping that powerful, victorious breath continuing, seal your palms. Bend your elbows and fold your arms in half. Your thumbs will tap the back of your head or neck. Identify an intention for practice today. Either an attitude or an energy that you'd like to manifest or attract. And gradually release the arms, but keep that intention close. Meet me in a tabletop, all fours. Exhale, knees under hips, wrists parallel to the front of your space. Stretch your right leg back and keep the toes on the mat. Start to shift your body weight forward and back, forward and back. Continue. 1 more. We'll meet center so we're not hinging forward or tipping back. Exhale here. As you inhale, keep the leg outstretched and start to articulate the spine like cow. This is a back bend, the shoulders unhunch. Inhale here. Exhale, tabletop, both knees down. Let's switch sides. Gradually stretch your left leg back, toes anchored, and start to shift your body weight forward and back. I like to sync this with an inhale forward, exhale back. 2 more on your own. Find neutral and exhale. Keep the leg extended. Inhale, articulate the spine like cow. Relax the throat. As you exhale, tabletop, neutral spine, both knees down. We'll flow that. Inhale, extend your right leg, cow pose. Exhale, release. Left side, stretch the leg. Cow heart, spine, and exhale, release. How about 1 more each side? Inhale. And exhale. Left side, try to keep the right hip quiet. Inhale. And exhale. Engage through the finger pads more strongly, like you're trying to grab handfuls of the mat. Tone the belly like a sit-up. Flex your feet and come into a short down dog. So not your longest down dog ever, but long enough to get an obvious stretch through the lower calves and Achilles. You may like to pedal out to accentuate that stretch. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg skyward, and exhale, bend your knee. Start to open the knee like a dog at a fire hydrant, and look under your right armpit. We're attempting to stack the hips here. Give yourself a couple breaths. Regrip through all 10 finger pads. When you're ready to exit, slightly lower your hip and lower your right leg. Bring the foot to the ground and exhale. Lift your left leg skyward. Don't worry about lifting as high as you can. Bend your knee. Lift your knee higher, try to stack your hips and look under your left armpit, as long as that doesn't create too much strain for your neck. Re-strengthen through your hands. This is an arm balance. Release, lower the hip, down dog. Take baby steps forward. Top of the mat, ragdoll. You might grab your elbows here. Some of us may prefer to loop the peace fingers and thumbs around the big toes. Hinge your body weight a little more forward so that the majority of that body weight falls in the ball mounds and toes. The more your spine is rounding, the more you'll bend your knees. So please bend the knees to accommodate a tight or achy back. If this is really easy, you might stand on the palms for gorilla. My toes are all the way up to the creases of the wrists. Allow that breath to flow through the nasal passages in and out. And gradually release any bind or grasp, hands low. One halfway lift, inhale. Without locking your knees, start to elevate your torso more parallel with the ground. Inhale, shoulders back, crown forward. Exhale, fold and micro tuck the chin. Like you're dripping toward the earth, roll up toward mountain. Inhale, hands to sky. And exhale, hands at your heart center. Remember your intention. Inhale, mountain pose, opportunity to look up. As you exhale, circle your hands toward your low back, waist, or sacrum. Inhale, re-engage the musculature between the shoulder blades and raise your chest up. This is standing camel. There's no need to lock out the knees. Inhale here. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way down. All the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the legs. Exhale, step your left foot back for a low lunge position. Inhale, fingertips down on something. Exhale, tap your left knee toward the earth. Inhale, lift and straighten your left leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, lower, and do one more of each. Next time you bring the knee down, keep the back knee down. If it's tender, you might need some padding. You can always double up your mat or substitute a blanket. We'll guide the hands to the thigh here. Elevate the torso. Feel for some muscular energy between the shoulder blades. And clear your lungs. From here, let's lift the arms up. And exhale, grab opposite wrist, if that's easy, opposite elbow. Try to draw the arm bones back without overarching your spine. Inhale. To the right, exhale. Do this without moving your right knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean left. Try to keep the front leg stable and quiet. Do that one more time, side to side. Reset. Inhale, arms like mountain. Exhale, a vertical twist toward the right. We're isolating the body so that the lower part of the body stays pretty quiet and the upper body is in a twist. Over toward the right. Don't worry about cranking your head back. Try to keep the chin right over the middle of the chest. We're here for 3. Lengthen through the spine. 2. And release your hands downward for runner's lunge. Heel toe your right foot out. And bring your right toes on a diagonal toward like 1 or 2 o'clock. Hands on something. These could be props or straight to the floor. And we'll start to lift the back knee. Shift your body weight forward and back a few times until you find a place where you'd like to hold. At that point, you can decide whether you're going to keep the back knee lifted or lower the left knee down. Breathe here. I really like having something underneath my elbows, and so I might use props there. Some yogis like props under the hands, chest, or even the head. Please ensure that the right knee is either above or behind the ankle, also pointing in the same trajectory as the middle toe. We'll stay for a couple more breaths, runner's lunge. Our next shape is a modified side plank. Lower your palms shoulder distance. Come through a tabletop all fours, and there's no rush. We're opening toward the right side of the room. So keep the left hand, left knee down. Stretch the right leg back, and now angle the toes toward the right side wall. Plaster the bottom of your right foot to the earth. And either reach your arms straight up or over your head. If these both feel extra challenging or more dynamic than you need, try a hand to the hip, the waist, or the low back. Feel for length there, and the head in line with the heart. Unlock your left elbow. And know that you can always add on if there's a variation calling to you in side plank. Final moments here. Grip with the left thumb and index pad strongly. Lower and release, tabletop. Inhale, one cow pose. Can you arch your back? And exhale, downward facing dog, hips high. Take a couple breaths here. Recenter. And lengthen the spine, even if that means a deeper bend in your knees. Prepare to look forward and walk or hop, top of mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow humbly. Mountain pose is the inhale, reach all the way up. Hands to heart as you exhale. Take a moment to thank your body for getting you here today. Inhale, mountain pose, you might look upward. Exhale, hands to the low back, waist, or sacrum. Inhale, standing camel. We've got a few moments here. Energize the upper back, opening the chest. It's like the shoulder blades are pressing toward the back of the heart. Exhale together. Inhale, reset. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way down. All the way down. Release the hands. Inhale, step your right leg back. And exhale, tap your right knee down. So we're in a low lunge here. Inhale to lift, and exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, belly in. Do that one more time. And then keep the knee down, hands to left thigh. Find your balance here. The navel pulls in and up. We'll reach the arms skyward and keep the spine vertical. And as you exhale, grab opposite elbow or wrist. Re-lengthen on an inhale. Keep the core engagement. Exhale, lean to the left without much movement in your forward knee. Inhale, back to center, re-lengthen, and switch. Try to keep the length that you've created. Do that one more time in each direction, isolating the upper body without much movement in the lower half. Come back up, straighten your spine, and release to mountain arms. Inhale, exhale, vertical twist toward the left. The head is right over the chest here. Spread the fingers wider. Gaze one spot and stay for 3. Try right shin down, left shin forward. 2. And release. Hands to the inside of the left foot for runner's lunge pose. Heel to the left foot out to about 1 or 10 or 11 o'clock. The left toes are angled somewhat on a diagonal here, and the knee follows that diagonal. With the hands low, we'll lift the back knee up and shift forward and back several times. Identify a point where you'd like to stop and hold. Either back knee stays lifted or all the way down to your mat. And you can double up the padding as needed there. You might like to bring in other props for a little more lift. And take a few moments to set up. And a few moments in relative stillness without necessarily doing anything or changing anything. Two more rounds, gentle breath in runner's lunge. This hip opening here will be very helpful in our flip dog practice. Lower your hands, come into a tabletop, and take your time. From a tabletop position, we'll open toward the left, keep your right hand and right knee down. Extend your left leg back and start to angle the big toe side downward until you are able to plaster the whole bottom foot toward the mat. Stacking the hips here, left arm reach straight up vertical or over the head as long as the shoulders allow. Another option is to have the hand at the hip. Think about moving the chest away from the right armpit. Regrip with the finger pads and give yourself a couple breaths here in our modified side plank. To exit, lower your left hand down and take a rest either seated or child's pose. This might also be an opportune time to hydrate, little sips of water. Let's meet in a kneeling position, yogis. Elevate your torso, crown of the head up and the tailbone down. My knees are about as wide as my hips. I'll circle the hands to the lower back. Inhale, trace your gaze up the front wall. Exhale, Ustrasana, camel. Breathe normally here. Try not to rush the inhales or the exhales. I encourage open mouth empties. Re-engage the musculature between the shoulder blades. Try to keep your hips above your knees. One more exhale here, and then slowly, gradually release to rest, sitting either on a prop or on your heels. As you're resting here, I'll demonstrate flip dog. And this posture is one that looks, I think, trickier than it is. I know the first time I saw a bunch of yogis in class moving into this pose, I thought there's no way I'm ever doing that. And I did, and you might too. So the cool thing about this pose is that we've already practiced a lot of these elements so far in the sequence. So you've felt a lot of what you would feel in a flip dog. And I'll show you how we start in dog. From a down dog, remember at the beginning of class I had you lift your leg, bend the knee, open the hip, and look under the right armpit? Now from there, you're going to start to feel the hips stack, just like they do in a side plank. But go a little further, unweight the right hand, and parallel the feet so the toes point toward the back of your mat. So both my knees are bent, just like they are in camel and bridge. And now if I want my right hand at the hip, I can do that. I might reach straight up. To go further, I might reach over the head. I'm engaging the back body and gripping with the left thumb, index, really all of the finger pads, like I'm trying to grab a fistful of the mat with my bottom hand. After a few rounds of breath, I lower my hips and come back to down dog. You might like to start on the left side with me. Left leg lift. Bend the knee, open the hip. Look under the left armpit. And then it's kind of a rock to the pinky edge of the right foot initially. A lift through the left hand. That left foot steps down, and the feet are parallel about as wide as the hips, just like in bridge. Lift up through the back body, including the pelvis. And either keep your hand at your waist, your hip, reach straight up, or maybe over toward the front of your space. Couple breaths here. Relax the facial muscles. Forehead, temples. When you're ready to exit, slightly lower the hips. Unswivel. Back to down dog. And we'll meet in seated. If you haven't quite had time to do both sides, you can take an opportunity to do that now. If you need to, of course, you can pause this. And we'll stretch the legs forward. Now, if I had any low back complaints, rounding or achiness, I would elevate on like a blanket or a cushion. So that's always optional. Let's rotate the inner thighs downward so the legs are rotated neutrally, not externally. Inhale, reach your arms high like mountain. Exhale, heart leads, fold forward. So just a brief counter pose to our back bending. It should feel nice. If it doesn't, you might be overworking. Relax your toes and ankles, ungrip the fingers. Let's stay for a couple more breaths here. And keep the head low. Inhale, start your ascent, rolling all the way up. Bend the knees. Reach forward past your shins. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, lower one bone at a time to a reclined position on your mat. Let's scoot the hips just a little bit to the right. Sway the knees to the left for a twist. And you can either cactus or TV arms. Some people like to cross the right knee over the left knee, like eagle legs. Add on the neck stretch, gaze right. Think about keeping the right shoulder and arm heavy like lead. Gradually release your head, your neck, your knees, and reset back at center. Move the hips off toward the left, hips toward the left, knees right, supine twist. You might like to cross the left knee on top this time, kind of a gentle eagle variation. Gaze left, but only if the neck allows. With each exhale, the left shoulder gets heavier, and the more the shoulder sinks, the more the legs drift. Couple more rounds. And cross your ankles, or knees rather. Exit the twist at your pace. Lift one and both feet. Lift the back of your heart and head. And come into a tiny little ball here. Try to grab your elbows or your wrists. And keep that grasp without letting go of your arms. Bring the heart and the head back to the mat. Or wind relieving pose. This combined with your twist, a great power duo to boost digestion. Stay for one more inhale and a cleansing exhale. And we'll meet in fallen bridge. The feet are wide apart, knees collapse together. You're making a tent shape with the legs. Sway your head a couple times from side to side, massage the scalp. Bring your head to neutral right at the center. And either stay here or begin to stretch out your legs for a more traditional Shavasana. Nestle the shoulder blades down the back. And sense the calmest expression on your face. Any final adjustments now? Please give yourself permission to rest. Keeping eyes closed, start to become aware of your breathing. Lay your palms over your upper chest and feel the rise and fall of breath into your hands. Part your lips and exhale. Wiggle your toes, circle ankles. Stretch one in both arms. Roll to your favorite side with bent knees, fetal position. Press down through your arms to lift up seated. Imagine the wall behind you coming forward to meet you. Exhale, hands join at the heart center. Take a moment to thank your body for getting you here and getting you through. And take a moment to thank your practice for reminding you of your strength. As you inhale, lift your thumbs to third eye center, joining the heart and the mind's intuition. Take a full inhale here. Exhale with reverence, we bow. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in today. I already feel more expansive in the chest, a little more upright in my posture. Hope you can feel some benefits yourself. I'd love to hear how you're doing in the comments below, and I'll see you next week. Stay healthy.